Thank you very much. Congratulations to the class of 2022. It's great to be here in person on an absolutely gorgeous day. I hope it portends well for all of our futures. I just want to begin by thanking our students for being flexible enough and resilient enough to make it through an incredibly difficult 4 years. Sure, it's medical school, but then you each had to deal with the uncertainty of what is going to happen tomorrow with COVID. So thank you for bearing with us, and thank you for making it here till today. I also want to thank the leadership of New York Medical College, who tried to steward us as best as they could, and I think as best as anyone could, through the current pandemic. Dr. Edward Halpern, the Chancellor, Jerry Nadler, Dean of the School of Medicine, Robert Amler, Dean of the School of Health Sciences and Practice, and Joseph Mark, whom you just heard from, the chair of the board. Also like to thank the scientific committee that helped us make decisions during these tough times, led by Dr. Solomon Amar, the research provost at Touro University, and Marissa Maltecalvo, as well as Dr. Ambler. So thanks to all of you for getting us through this. But actually, the person who really deserves our thanks is today's guest speaker, whom I'll talk about in a moment. But I would suggest to you that more than any other person in the entire world, Dr. Bourla was responsible for making sure that vaccines effective against COVID were available to the largest number of people throughout the world. And he's the one who really deserves our thanks. So before I introduce Dr. Bourla, just a few words to the graduates. As several of us have mentioned, it's been a tough few years. Clinical rotations were interrupted. Lectures went on Zoom. The uncertainty of how the pandemic would evolve meant that medical students, who are particularly good at organizing and planning, had to enter an entirely new realm where they were flexible enough to deal with unforeseen circumstances. Not only did you make it through that, but through a variety of initiatives helping with testing and vaccination and supporting your classmates and the community, you helped make a difference in the response to the pandemic. And if there's one word that I would suggest characterizes your experience in medical school and what it took to succeed in these difficult times, it's resilience. And while it may have seemed tough and challenging and frustrating, and a few other words that I can't mention up here, I think the skills that you acquired, not just in medicine and knowledge, but in dealing with the unknown and dealing with whatever comes your way, are things that will serve you well in healthcare and in life in the years to come. It's no secret that we live in a bit of unstable times. Dr. Bourla mentioned to me, and he was kind enough to just come back from Davos to speak here today, that the main topics of conversation were the war in Ukraine and inflation and COVID. Not a great time and a time of uncertainty. So both in dealing with healthcare and the rapid changes and challenges that occur, and in dealing with your lives and service to society, it's a time when flexibility and resilience will be needed. And each of you students today who's made it here to graduation has shown that you've been able to acquire those skills if you didn't have them already when you got here. And for that, we're both immensely proud and immensely hopeful about the future, that you, with your commitment to serving community and with your knowledge about medicine and health science, can really make a difference in the future.